Okay, absolutely insane ending to the Broncos-Bengals game. Again, keep in mind, if the Broncos win this game, they clinch the playoffs. If the Bengals lose this game, they are clinched out of playoff contention. Huge stakes, and we're going to start off here, a huge spot in the game. 5 minutes left in a tie game, right at the 50-yard line. Bengals are facing a 3rd down and 4. Burrow is going to take the snap, and he hits an open T. Higgins. They run this little rub route to get him open. Good play design here, well executed by Cincinnati. And as of right now, they're going to probably be in field goal range and are now in run out the clock territory is what you're thinking. The issue is the guy who's covering Higgins. That's Pat Surtain, and he's a Defensive Player of the Year candidate for a reason. Watch him knock the ball loose, and this is recovered by Surtain as well. However, it is ruled an incomplete pass, which is still helpful, right? I mean, that makes it a 4th down. But as the Bengals hurry up to the line, Sean Payton decides to throw the challenge flag, even though he's already lost the challenge. He's going to take a little bit of a gamble here to see if they can get the ball. And let's look at the replay, because actually the first time I saw the replay, I thought it wasn't going to be overturned, but it's actually the correct call. Here's why it gets overturned. First, we have to set up the rule. The rule is you need 2 feet down and then to do something, whether that's, take a 3rd step. That's usually what happens, but it could be something else. It's referred to as a football move. Do something that's an aspect of football. If you do that after having 2 steps down, then it is a completion. So I'm going to play this a little bit. I'm going to pause it right when he maintains possession. If you see, his right foot is already down. That's key here. Because then when he puts his left foot down, now he's put 2 feet down. That 3rd step, that now means that it is a completion, and therefore, when the ball gets knocked out immediately after, it is in fact a fumble, so correct call there, and now the Broncos are in business. However, they find themselves after a bad screen pass in a bit of a worse scenario than they were hoping for. It's a 3rd down and 15 right here, and they're around midfield, so not the end of the world. Again, if you don't convert here, you can punt the ball back and pin the Broncos deep, but you'd like to be able to convert it. Instead, the thing that can't happen happens here. At first, this looks like just an awful play from Bo Nix, throwing it right to a Bengals defender. That's actually not the case on this play. I'm going to show a different angle to show it. You see right here, there's contact as Bo Nix is making this throw. I think he makes an accurate throw and gets the 1st down there. I think there was a window had he not been hit as he makes that throw, but that contact is what did it. Allows it to, at the very least, be an easier interception for Cincinnati, and now the Bengals are back in business. To make matters worse for the Denver Broncos, immediately after, Burrow's going to make a nice play to get Jamar Chase, who gets easily in field goal range, so that's not ideal if you're a Broncos fan, certainly. And then this play, I want to set this up as well. This is a huge play because, again, you're in field goal range. You can take the lead, but if Denver can get a stop here on a 3rd down and 6, they're okay. There's 1 minute and 51 seconds left. The Broncos have 2 timeouts, so even if they have to burn one of those, you're going to have roughly 2 minutes and a timeout, only needing to get a field goal if you can get a stop here. The issue is you have to get the stop, and as you see, the bigger issue is you have Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow making a play. That's exactly what they do. It's a double team on that one, but I think the double team almost hurt them more than helped them. Because you had a linebacker and a safety, but neither one, they were both kind of expecting the other guy to get him. Chase runs in between both of them. Really good route by him, really good throw from Burrow. So we're all thinking the same thing. Okay, Bengals, you've won the game, right? The Broncos only have 1 timeout, so what do? Well, you start kneeing the ball, right? Which means you can kill the timeout in 120 seconds no matter what. Plus, you're going to kill the time it takes to knee the ball 3 times and the time it takes to kick a field goal, probably the rest of the clock. There might be a few seconds left over. Instead, I don't know why Cincinnati did this, but they decide to run the ball. And I'm going to pause this at the end of the run. So I'm going to pause it right here just so we can talk about it. So, I mean, the main reason you don't want to do this is because you could fumble, right? But something else happens that's not as bad, but still bad, which is a player gets injured, which is, unfortunate just by itself, right? Chase Brown goes down with an injury here, and it's a bad injury. He can't try and walk off the field quickly and, make sure they save the timeout, which means that the Bengals have to spend a timeout here to stop the clock. The clock stops. So now heading over here, you have 2nd and goal at the 1-yard line, but you didn't kill the 40 seconds. So now it's a decision. Do you want to knee the ball twice? Well, doing that gives the Broncos a little bit of time, and they would maybe only need a field goal to win, right? and they would only need a field goal to tie there. So now if you're the Bengals, you kind of have to go for a touchdown. It was just a bad decision to not knee it there, and that's why I always harp on coaches when they don't do little stuff like this, because it can matter. That being said, the Bengals do ultimately get the touchdown, so they feel better about themselves after that, right? Hey, able to, score and make it a 7-point game. But then we saw, there's really no other way to describe it, Bo Nix magic. Some of the plays Bo Nix made on this drive, like this one, moving off balance, putting that ball through a window for Courtland Sutton. This one, another one. I mean, these are mailbox throws he's going to be making off balance to make that work. And no bigger play than this one. I'm going to pause it just to set the stage. It is a 4th down and 1 right here. Only 14 seconds left, no timeouts. I mean, this is essentially for the game. Nix is going to take the snap, and immediately it's bad to worse. There is pressure right in his face. He's just sending a prayer here. That's all you can really do. Put it in a spot that you hope your receiver can make a play. But Nix is going to off balance, fire one down to field. And as of right here, I mean, this is exactly where you'd want this ball. He gets a lot of air under it. It reminds you of the Aaron Rodgers throw against the Cardinals in the playoffs, right? But also watch this catch from Courtland Sutton. Unbelievable. I'm going to show the other angle here just because they did review this to see if it was, in fact, a catch or not. So I want to go over that as well. You see, so it's Marvin Mims, not Courtland Sutton. You see Marvin Mims on this play. As of right here, the ball does move a little bit, but he has possession. I've paused it right now, and he still isn't out of bounds yet. The ball doesn't hit the ground, so all he needs is to have possession before going out of bounds, which he has and maintains from this point forward. You see that the ball does get ripped out again later, but it was ruled possession inbounds. He's down. He had gone to the ground. Because of that, the play stands. Now, the Broncos decide to just kick the extra point, which is interesting because Bo Nix was signaling he wanted them to go for 2 earlier, but they go for the extra point and decide to send it to overtime instead. Played a little safe here with the, I don't want to say season on the line, but again, it's a big game for them as well. So the Bengals win the opening coin toss in overtime, and we're all thinking the same thing, right? The way this game is going, of course, the stupid overtime rules are going to be that whoever wins the coin toss just marches down the field, gets the touchdown, and then that's it. Well, Cincinnati's looking good. They have the ball at midfield. They got a couple first downs already. However, it's the one issue the Bengals just seemingly always have is the offensive line gives up a quick pressure. Burrow tries to get out of it, ends up stepping into a sack, and because of it, now they're in a tough spot. It's going to be a 3rd and very long. On to 3rd and 14, Burrow would, again, kind of very similar play, gets sacked, only loses about a yard, but it's 4th and 15. You can't go for it here. If you miss, the game's over, basically. So they decide to, punt the ball away, kind of what you have to do here. The Bengals defense is able to force a 3rd down and 6, but again, a really huge play here now for the Denver Broncos. Bo Nix is going to take the snap, and one of the issues that's kind of plagued the Bengals all year is plaguing them here. They're not covering well. There's a player who's wide open, and if they make this play, not only is it a first down, you're gaining a ton of yards here, and who knows, if you can make one move, maybe you can get all the way into the end zone for a touchdown. End it right here. And this is just a missed throw. I mean, there's no getting around it. It's not even that bad. It's just a hair too much. If he made that throw, then I don't know what happens, but it could have gone very well. Part of me was wondering, do you consider going for it here? Like, you could, because punting the ball away is going to give the Bengals good field position. I don't know. So Joe Burrow makes a couple of plays, which you knew he was going to do, right? You give the Bengals enough of these types of opportunities, they're ultimately going to get in field goal range. That's what happens. They're at a 33-yard field goal attempt, and they say, let's just go for it right here. I actually think they burned a little bit too much time before going for it, but that's beside the point. Still have a little bit of time, because a tie and the Broncos make the playoffs. The Bengals need a win here. A tie does them no good. But you see, it's a bad snap. And this happened earlier where there was a bit of an issue with the snap and hold. Here's not a great snap. And keep in mind, this is a new kicker. Evan McPherson is injured in this game. So, maybe if these guys have done this 1,000 times, they would know what they're doing. The kicker maybe would know how to adjust to it. But here, no real way of doing it. He's going to just try and do what he can. As you see, he adjusts late and just pulls it just enough. It hits the upright and ends up being no good. So now all the Broncos have to try and do is they don't even need to worry about win the game. There's a little under 3 minutes left. They're in kill the clock mode. They're in try to tie here. So then we got to go over here. The Broncos run a couple plays, aren't able to gain anything except for 1 yard on those 2 plays. So now it's a 3rd and 9. Again, if the Broncos convert here, they're in the playoffs. They can knee the ball 3 times because the clock would continue to run. They can take a tie, and hey, tie means you're in. That's all they have to do. Nix is going to take the snap. Look at his best one-on-one matchup. There's a little bit of a window, but it was tough, and honestly probably gets tackled before they get the first down. Anyway, maybe they go for it. I don't know. But regardless, don't get the completion, stops the clock, and means that the Bengals will get one more chance. So the Bengals, of course, again, as you expect, make a couple plays here. They're going to get in field goal range, that big play. This one by Khalil Herbert, the backup running back, only in due to the injury. That's part of why we're here in overtime. But then in this situation, so they're at the 35-yard line, and what do? I mean, do you decide to go for the the field goal? Absolutely not, right? It has gone horrible this season. We got to trust Joe Burrow. We got to make something happen. Joe Burrow is going to say, hey, throwing to T. Higgins has a better success rate than hitting a field goal in overtime for us, so let's go there. He makes this incredible play. What a catch by T. Higgins. And then they even throw on the next play. They trust their quarterback. They trust T. Higgins. And they're still alive. Somehow, some way, the Cincinnati Bengals survive. And listen, they need a million things to go their way still if they're going to make the playoffs. They need a Colts loss somewhere. They need a Dolphins loss somewhere. And they need the Chiefs backups to beat the Broncos in the final game of the season. But they're still alive, and what a moment for Bengals fans. Absolutely crazy. What do you think of all this craziness? Let me know in the comments below. If you watched to the end of this, I will mention I do have a movie channel. If you like watching movies, want to hear me talk about movies, you can check that out. The link is in the description below. I have some movie reviews and stuff like that. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.